Hey, it's Debra Atkinson. I'm so glad you're here. I'm the founder of Flipping 50. And in this video, of course, sitting behind my podcasting studio, but I've just finished at request an episode about age defying exercises and what would I choose. So I'm going to give you 5 age defying exercises, but I want to make it very clear to you. If you asked me a year from now, 5 years ago, those 5 may be different. So these 5 are not necessarily each and every one of them like somewhere there was a research study scientifically conducted, showing that people at the end of life could do these exercises, and so they lived longer, stronger, healthier. There isn't one in existence, unfortunately, but what I'm gonna do is give you 5 as I've watched people age for over 40 years who could exercise, who were mobile, who were strong, who were thriving, doing things they loved until end of life stages. These are the ones that I would say would be most important. And these are the ones that if you're not doing them today to start, you don't have to do it perfectly today. So, disclaimer, I'm going to give you a bullet. You may not be able to do even one single pull up, but you can do it assisted. You can get yourself there starting today. So, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Here we go. I'm going to demonstrate the exercises. Then, I'm going to talk a little bit about why it's important and the science behind it. Okay, it's the single leg squat. Now, this may surprise you. What? So yes, we could say squats or squats and lunges or something, like that is major muscle groups and you need to be strong. But first, if you can't do a single leg squat, you may be in bigger trouble. This has been identified as one of the top three exercises for glute activation, targeting glute medius. And if that medial muscle side of your leg isn't strong, not firing, your knees and lower back are going to have problems. Now, if you can't do it balance-wise, I've got a TRX here. You could also have your hand on the wall. So it could be really important for you to do. Now, notice my fingertips are on that. I'm not really supporting my weight. It's just helping me with the balance. And I would suggest for you, also going to be really, really important. Okay. Number 2, this is a side plank. Now notice, this is going to take significant strength in your shoulders. Lots of good health and core going on here, but you're going to be surprised why I'm choosing this one. Not just because it's a compilation or a collection comprehensively of a lot of muscles working together, but this is also about the glutes. This is also in that top 3 exercises for the glutes, and you're working the bottom one most, but the top one a lot. So like 103% recruitment in the bottom glute and, a 90 something percentile in that top glute because of the moving leg. I think that's a pretty good exercise. Now, granted, you might need to start a little lower, maybe just knees. This one, small muscle group, it's going to be like, what? But this is external rotation. If you have a shoulder injury or have had, once you know, you can't go back. We have problems with internal rotation because of our posture. If you just think about it right now, and I ask you to pull your shoulder blades back, just now in that instant, you probably felt a little bit more open across the front of your chest and shoulders. In fact, maybe a little relief, like you just improved your posture. When we get injured, it tends to be because we're overly strong doing internal rotation. We don't have much external rotation. So even in doing this, I was creating the video. I don't do this often enough. I was a little bit sore the next day. Interesting, right? 10 on each. Now, I happen to have a 5-pound weight. That's actually pretty significant for external rotation. You could also do this one standing with a cable or a band. I don't love bands because of the property of the unique strength and stretch of plastic. You're not getting optimal range of motion and the resistance throughout it. So a weight is a little bit easier. Notice here, I'm going to pull in, it's actually a toy, but you could pull in a rounded up hand towel just to put the alignment of your elbow to shoulder a little bit more optimal. And that can be very helpful. But almost all of us could grab a soup can and have this to do at home. Next up, this one is about both posture and posture in helping to prevent upper body fractures. upper spinal column fractures, those that happen or occur right across your shoulder blades. This is simply lying down in this prone position, tucking my pelvis under a little bit so you can see my glutes are activated, right? So it's not like, look at my butt, but it's actually activated so I'm not straining through the lower back. I want to keep that head and neck in alignment, so I'm not looking forward first, but I'm retracting, pulling the shoulder blades together, sewing them down, like drawing them toward my hips as I come up. Now you can hold this maybe for 15 seconds, come down, and do repeats of 4 of those, say, with a little break in between. But this for posture is excellent. And that rounded upper back, the kyphosis that is so common with older adults, is also evidenced and causation for some of that upper vertebral column fracture. So let's work on this. It's super simple. And yes, bent over rows, other heavier lifting things, but we need these to work first. Okay, so talking about heavier things, a pull-up, and you may be shocked to find I'm going to ask you to do a pull-up. But it doesn't matter if you're 50 or you're 60, you've never done one. Notice what I'm doing is I'm giving myself an assist. If you're in a gym, you can use an assisted pull-up machine. It's already done for you and built in. And you can say, I can only lift 30% of my body weight right now, and it will help you do that. I'm using what's called super bands. I happen to have 2, so I'm getting a lot of help here. And I think we each need to be responsible for our own body weight. We need to be able to do this, but this is an excellent exercise, again, for postural muscles. This is actually very helpful for grip strength. So total body strength is reflected in your grip strength, but just having grip strength, I mean, this is opening jars of peanut butter all by yourself, not having to ask for somebody or saying, yeah, pass it to me, I'll do that for you. Isn't that nice? So another option, so I had my feet in it, but now I'm just putting knees in it. This is a much harder version, right? Because there's not as much tension in the band. So notice I didn't love that one. I didn't do it very long. So you can do palms facing, palms out. Both are helpful, but pull-ups are your friend.
So there you have it. These 5 exercises, remember nothing is a unicorn about them or this group of 5, but each and every one of them plays into our risk for things like sarcopenia, muscle loss, and or your risk for osteoporosis and osteopenia, and say the kyphosis and rounded back, upper back posture issues that occur because of it and or with old age. And in our generation, we were the cell phone generation. So forward head hang also becomes a factor of closed and tight shoulders. And did you know this also pulls on your lower back and is related to your hamstrings? That entire rear kinetic chain is going to suffer. So there's far more. This is like a prescription, not just an exercise prescription, but a prescription for longevity, or what I'd rather say is strongevity. Somebody already has that word, so I can't have it, but we can certainly use it. In my next video, I'm going to do leg shaping exercises. So I'd love to hear your questions about this video or hear about what exercises would you like to see or have, or what problem areas do you have in that lower body? Because look, your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings are all so important for locomotion, mobility, being able to get around, stay independent, and doing the things we love to do. But there's a lot of things that may be getting in the way as well. I want to hear from you. Don't forget, click on subscribe. You can hit the bell to be notified whenever I drop a new video. And I look forward to seeing you on the flip side.